I jumped probably $400,000 in gross profit by getting more focused and not being a turn and burn. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast, very important episode for you to be successful. This episode is going to give you the core and the key, the blueprint for your success. Listen to this. It will make your office better. I promise you that. We have a little extra episode about my spring break trip. If you're a parent, if you have kids, if you're thinking about having kids, this is the story you want to hear. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. Thank you for all the likes, subscribers, all the people sending messages. I love optometry. I love talking about optometry. Recently heard a stat that if you get over 20 podcast episodes, you're in the top 1%. So, we are closing in on 200. You are listening to a top 1% podcast. Didn't say it was the best, just said we're the top 1% of producers. That being said, I thought that was pretty cool. Selfishly, I've told you this again and again. I love doing this for you guys, my people, but I do this because it makes me better. It holds me accountable to search, research, and I love talking about optometry. This is how I put my thoughts into the ether, and so much has come out of what the podcast is. So if it's affected you, if it's made your practice better, if it's inspired you to start your own practice in any way, shape, or form, send me some love. Let me know. Like us on Facebook, like the podcast, give us a 5-star review, or just send me a message and say, hey, keep it up. I like hearing that I'm affecting other people out there too. So that being said, let's get into this week's episode. And we only have so much time in the day, 24 hours. And you notice that if you're listening to this, you're a type A individual, or you're a motivated person that's pursued goals, right? You're an optometrist, or you're going to be an optometrist. I look back to high school, undergrad, grad school, and I've filled my days constantly. Like what I was doing between 6 a.m. and 9 and 10 p.m., maybe a little different, but it is always filled. Now I have 4 kids, a practice I'm trying to grow, podcast. I'm busy. And when you look at how you're going to be successful, it's focusing on what matters. Well, there's a principle called the Pareto principle, and it says for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. The vital few, if you will. So that's been resonating in my head, and you can apply that a lot to life, but I'm going to try to apply it to our practice, to what we do in optometry. So the 80% of consequences can be good or bad. You know, what 20% of your sources are causing 80% of your problems? That's another podcast. We'll talk about that. What I want to focus on is what 20% of your sources, your resources, are causing 80% of your happiness, of your success. What is that 20%? We only have so much time in the day. How do you get focused like a laser on the 20% that moves the needle? All right. Well, I was listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast. I like that podcast. I like listening to the minds of high performers, and Tim is great at interviewing the guests. And he interviewed Reed Hastings, the guy that developed Netflix, and Reed told the story of how when Netflix and Blockbuster were competing, that eventually Netflix won out. But they started selling old DVDs. They started trying to get other areas. They tried to expand their reach to beat Blockbuster. And he said that if he would have focused on that 20% that moved the needle, if he would have focused on his core business from the get-go, he would have beat Blockbuster in half the time. And Tim Ferriss, being the astute interviewer that he was, he asked Reed, he goes, well, if that's the case, why didn't you do that? And Reed told a great story about when he was a kid, I don't know, 70s we'll call it, there was a detergent that had green crystals. And, laundry detergents or, kitchen detergents or whatever detergent that he was talking about, they're commodities. It's a dime a dozen. They are soap, clean it. But this detergent set themselves apart by saying the green crystals are what make us special. Buy us because we have the green crystals. And he said, when you're going to do something, I don't care how small the room is, how big the room is, smart people need to justify what they're doing. So they want to talk about the green crystals. Having better packaging, having a quicker delivery system isn't sexy, right? The green crystals, the areas that you're going to branch off into are what move the needle. Starting your dry eye clinic, your myopia management clinic, the Avalux migraine glasses, all these things are sexy. But if you don't have a passion for it, if it's not your core business, it's not going to move the needle. It's going to be the 80% that's not getting you the results. The 80% that's giving you 20% of your results. You're spending time, effort, and energy in the wrong area. So, moving this to optometry, I was listening to the Power Hour podcast. Eugene Chapman has taken it over. I think he's doing a really good job so far. And he was interviewing Jay Abraham. And Jay said there's 3 ways to grow a business. You can have more buyers. You can have a greater revenue per purchase. So they spend more money when they do buy from you. Or you can increase the frequency of purchasing. I thought that was great, right? More buyers, greater revenue, increased frequency. It's that simple. That mindset is kind of what we're talking about right now. It's cutting the fat, getting to the fundamentals. So when I look at my office, and we've talked about this a lot in the past year, that my office does 3 things: optical, ocular surface and dry eye, and ocular health and wellness. Right there, those 3 things have cut the fat, right? When it comes to scleral lenses, I was trying to grow that, trying to make that a thing, trying to make that fetch. Just not going to happen, Jan. I've just stopped doing that. I've started finding doctors that I trust and know, and I'm referring my scleral fits to them. Specialty contacts, refer to other offices. Yes, it's very lucrative. You can do very well. It's game-changing. But as I've fit sclerals for about 3-4 years, the patients aren't as wowed by it. Like, it's a miracle that they have a cornea that's shaped the way it is or has the defects or scars, and we can get them to see 20/25, 20/20, and either they're not happy or it's a hassle. Do they have to renew the sclerals every year? And it's just, oh man, it's hard for me to get excited about that when they're not excited about it. And I'm finding, and again, this has to do with me a lot because it's not my passion. It's not my jam. It's not everything I think about, right? And because I don't have that energy, I don't have that zest, it doesn't radiate to my staff. It doesn't radiate to the patient to the same extent. And again, I put a lot of effort, money, energy into that. I just will pass it on. That is not part of my 20% that's giving me 80% of the results. Myopia management, I do it because standard of care. It's really stinking easy, but I'm not marketing that. It's not a big part of my office. It's just something that I do. Pediatrics, binocular vision, again, I refer that out. I have since I've opened, just because it's not my passion, right? And the mistake that we make, the mistake that I made when I first started is every single one of those things. Again, I didn't do scleros because I didn't know them when I started, but pick a different name and call it, vision therapy. And I was doing that. Someone wanted X, Y, or Z. Absolutely, I'll do that for you. I was thinking about my practice today, And when I first started, I marketed really hard on the internet, on my website, same day service. We will treat your ocular emergencies today. We'll take call 24/7. And you know what I saw a lot of? Red eyes. People would search us out, do a Google search. I'd come up and they'd come in. And it was great. I thought it was a great way to start the practice. I was doing a service. But you know what happened? We got bigger. We grew. Our schedule was packed. And when I was still doing that, it was a disruptor. We'd fit them in, but I'd have to disrupt the people that were my core 20%. Right? I still do that. I just still do same day urgencies and emergencies. But because I'm not marketing it, it's not disrupting my schedule. It's not my core 20%. So as I talk about this, as it starts to come to the forefront of your mind, what is your core? What are the things that move the needle for you in your office? I guarantee it's not the same thing that's happening in my office. Every office has its own identity, its own culture. But are you like doubling down on that? Do you know what you do, and are you putting all your effort and energy into that 20%? Right? You need to. Now, going back to what Jay Abraham was saying, is one of the key things that I do is optical. How do I sell more glasses? I do more refractions. When you look at that principle that he applied and apply that to the Pareto principle, it's very enlightening, because if all I did was try to do more and more refractions, I become a turn and burn corporate optometry place. If you're in a corporate optometry and you're doing, I know a couple of doctors out there that are doing good clinical care. I'm not saying you can't, but we'll use that as our example of corporate optometry, turn and burn, do a refraction, get the next one in the chair. That may increase your revenue, but you got to remember that when you increase the number of buyers, when you increase the patients coming into your office, you also have to staff for that. And when you have to be hiring, when you have to be highly staffed, your overhead will shoot through the roof. And then you are now obligated to see a certain volume, otherwise you're not going to be able to meet your payroll, right? So you're creating a horrible working environment. And honestly, I look back in my office 2 to 3 years ago, and that's what I was. I jumped probably $400,000 in gross profit by getting more focused and not being a turn and burn. All right, I did the other things that we talk about on this list, and that's increasing your revenue per patient. Dry eye ocular surface, IPL, your heat therapies, the masks, all these other things increase my revenue per purchase. Awesome, right? And I have a passion for it. I talked to a couple of the doctors that are just sick of the dry eye. They don't like when the patient doesn't come in. It's the same thing I'm talking about when I'm talking about sclerosis, but that's what dry eyes to them. I don't have that. Thankfully, I still have that zest, energy. I love doing it, so that's easy for me to make that part of my core. But it also is moving the needle, and it's doing one of the 3 basic principles by increasing my revenue per patient. The other aspect, what's the other one of the core things that I do, and that's ocular health and wellness. When you're doing ocular health and wellness, and I call it that versus ocular disease, because I think it's more than just managing disease, it's preventing the disease, right? I want to do both aspects. Once they have the disease, obviously we're here to help them out, but why can't we do more to prevent that, right? Again, prevention will increase that revenue per patient when you're talking about supplements, masks, all those things. But when you're managing disease, when you purchase the OCT, when you purchase the visual field, all these other toys, gadgets, mybographers, you are now creating an environment where you are going to see the patient more frequently. We have to do an IOP check every 3 to 4 months. We're doing an OCT. We're doing a visual field. Again, you're increasing the frequency at which you see a patient, right? These are the principles that you need to know. Increase the number of buyers, increase the revenue per purchase or increase the frequency that they are making a purchase. They are coming in and seeing you, right? Apply that to the Pareto principle, and now you have a business, right? Now you're cooking with fire. Now you're really moving the needle, and that's what I want you to take away from this episode. What is your core? What are you passionate about? And what is giving you 80% of your happiness, 80% of your successes, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of what you're doing. Double down, triple down, put all your chips on the table and go after that. And that'll make you be better at what you do. For example, I really like the Avalux migraine glasses. I still might add those in the future, but as I was weighing the principles of that, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I can get revenue from it. It's not a big purchase in terms of inventory or a piece of equipment, but is it going to be a core of what I do, or is it going to be one of those ancillary things? And honestly, I think it'd be one of the ancillary things that just distracted me from what is important. As you know what your core is, you go through, an opportunity will present itself, and you have to ask yourself, does this meet my requirements to be part of my core 20%? Does it increase buyers? Does it increase revenue per patient? Does it increase the frequency that the patient will come in, sticking true to my culture, my belief system, my core principles, right? Ask yourself that, and it's going to make things a lot more clear and easy. Heck, I love ocular surface disease. But as I grow and expand, as I try to scale, I honestly wonder if an IPL in every office is part of the secret sauce that I'm going to use to grow and expand. I honestly don't think it is. I think having a core central location that you refer all of those things to for the treatments is the answer. And as you grow and expand, you focus on the ocular health and wellness and the optical aspect. I think that's scalable. Now, again, one of those satellites gets big enough, then absolutely bring it in. You can do it. But as you grow and expand initially, my mindset is, what moves the needle? What is the actual 20%? And as I get bigger, you have to cut the fat. Focus on what really is moving the needle. Now, again, notice that I'm talking from a business perspective versus a passion perspective. Right? I know I'll always be able to go back to my home office and do what I want to do, have the treatments. If I didn't have that opportunity, if I didn't have that luxury, wherever I was practicing, I'd have an IPL, right? Just because I want to provide that highest level of service, highest level of care. So use this outline, use what I've given you to laser focus your efforts, your energies. And honestly, there's so many other things we could talk about, like how can you use this laser focus to look at your problems and solve those? How can you use this laser focus, this Pareto principle, to look at your marketing? Look at how you're going to grow the business, how you talk to your staff in office meetings. Like, all of this can be applied. You just have to know what moves the needle. And I ask you, just take a step back. When you're done with this podcast, I know you're working out, you're driving, you're getting ready to go to bed. But when you get a chance, next time you're just, blue sky thinking, really take a step back and see what is moving the needle in your office. Let me know, because I really would put a guess out there that if all of us put comments in the YouTube episode below, if you guys send me messages, we're moving the needle in different aspects. Like, all of us, I bet you, has a refraction optical component. It's just nature of what we do. But what the other aspects are, I think it's going to be unique. I think it's interesting. Let's see what we can figure out. What are we doing that's moving the needle? That's what I have for you. We'll have more for you next week. All right, friends, this is a little personal office talk. So this is not the usual office talk, but if you're a parent, if you're going to have kids, if you know someone with kids, this is fun. If you don't want to listen to this, just go to the closing thought of the episode and you'll be fine. I was on spring break. All right. And if you have multiple kids, I have 4, 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's how old they are. If one kid gets sick, it's just going to work its way down the line. And about 3 weeks before spring break, one of my kids got sick and it took him about 5 days. 2-year-old. Took him a while. He got healthy. And then my 6-year-old got sick and she was over it in a day. Right before Easter, about 2 days before Easter, my 4-year-old gets the same stomach virus, down for the count for about 4 days. All right? So I needed you to know that history because that's going to affect where we go. We get through it. I work Monday. Tuesday, I work till 11 o'clock. I have a 1 o'clock flight, 1:55 flight. Horrible decision. My wife said I was an idiot, and she was right. I always do this to myself. I'm like, I can fit more in. If I would have just stopped at 10 o'clock, it would have been all good, but I worked. I had 11 and 11:15 patient. I didn't get out of the office until about noon. We rushed to the airport. We woke up that morning. Everyone's healthy. I'm like, we did it. We made it. We are going to get on this airplane. We are going to Florida. And we get there, and I didn't eat all morning. My kids are sitting there. They're eating snacks. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to sneak. Dad's on vacation now. Buy myself a sandwich, and I'm just walking around the airport eating my sandwich. My wife texts me. My oldest needs to go to the bathroom, and she's like, hey, do you mind if she goes by herself? Like, I'm right here. She's fine. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, she's 8 years old. She's going to be fine. And I'm walking back, and I kind of see her. I look at my daughter. I was like, hey, how's it going? And she starts crying. I'm like, oh, here we are, Miss Dramatic, not going to be able to go to the bathroom by herself. So I look at my wife, kind of annoyed. Say to my wife, hey, she needs to go to the bathroom. She goes, and all of a sudden I heard a, bleh. And I didn't really look, but I heard, there's parents all over the place. And I hear one of the two parents go, oh. I turn and look, and there's like barf on the floor. I'm like, oh no. Look at my wife. I'm like, hey. And I point, and then my daughter is just starting to bawl, and then again, pukes right on the floor. It's happening, and mind you, this is at 1:15. We board at 1:25. Like, people are lining up to board. I'm like, Ash, my wife, awesome, puts her under the arm, goes right to the bathroom, does work. My other kids look up at me. They are about to cry. They're like, Dad, we're not going to Florida. I'm like, just calm down. Mom's going to take care of this. I have patients coming and like saying hi to me, like, hey, Dr. Lilly, good to see you. I'm like, yeah, really good. I'm looking down, into the bathroom, shaking, having a conversation with a guy. I have to talk to him and let him know, hey, sorry, I wasn't really all there. I was, weird place. And then, they actually start boarding. My wife's in there for like 10, 15 minutes. They're boarding the plane. I give her a call, literally call on the phone. I'm like, hey, babe, we need to figure out what's going on. Everyone's getting on the plane. So she comes out. We're lining up. My daughter, the 8-year-old, who is the most excited out of everyone in my mind, is just devastated. She's like not looking good, curled up on the floor. And I look at my wife, and this is the moment that you have. You have 3 options at this point. We suck it up, put her on the plane, and we're going to just make it. Now, mind you, remember my history. 1 daughter, done in 24 hours. 2 of the 4 took about 5 days. What are you going to do in this situation? I don't know. So either we suck it up, we go. Or we all say, hey, none of us are going. We're going to just delay a day. We'll try to get on a flight tomorrow. Or we divide and conquer. One parent goes, takes some of the kids. The other parent goes home and tries to get another day. Now, I say to you in this moment, I have no clue what to do. I'm looking at my wife and I'm telling her, hey, I think we should just go on. And she's like, it wasn't good in the bathroom. It's, both ends. I don't feel good about that. I'm like, I look at my daughter. I'm like, yeah, she doesn't look real great. Meanwhile, I'm pulling out a Meyer bag out of my, luggage, and here's this, and she's just sitting over that. I look at my other kids who are about in tears that they're not going to go to Florida. And selfishly, I honestly think in my head, I'm like, well, shoot. I took the day off from work. If I'm not going to go to work, if I'm not going to go to Florida, I'm going to go home tomorrow and maybe I can get some people on the schedule, see some people in the morning, make this happen, right? So we honestly, in the moment, my wife looks at me. She goes, I'll take my oldest home and you take the other ones. And I look at my 2-year-old and I'm like, I don't think I can take him too with the other two because my 4-year-old can barely pull her luggage. I'm literally pulling her luggage and her carry-on's too heavy for her. She's falling all over the airport because it's just too much for her. And she's like, oh, my wife's like, no, I'll take those two. And I'm like, are you sure? She's like, you got to do what you got to do. I didn't know if I was even going to make it based on how the 4-year-old was the past few days. And I'm like, all right. In the moment I decided, I go. I will tell you this. That is the worst decision I think you can make as a spouse. That I am going to Florida while my wife and my sick kid and 2-year-old are staying home. I get on the plane at Southwest and I am texting the whole flight. I'm like, I made the wrong decision. I don't know why. And my wife's like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing. And I told her to wait. She booked with Southwest. She's like, hey, we missed this flight. And they're like, yeah, we'll get you on the same flight tomorrow. You're good to go. Well, the crapshoot is my daughter going to be good. Mind you, my wife's like, it's a good thing we didn't get on the flight because she is still puking and it was a long night. So I'm flying. We get to Florida. And the question I have for you guys, in that moment, do you A, stay home, B, suck it up and put everyone on the flight, or C, do you divide and conquer? I don't think you should divide and conquer, but that's what we did, right? And happy ending. We got there. My daughter was 24 hours, kicked the virus. They came the next day. We picked them up. A little more travel hassle, but we picked them up. We got there. They missed about 24 hours of fun, but we had a great trip. It worked out. I will tell you, if my wife and kids did not make it to Florida, I am not telling this story, and I am ashamed as a father and spouse that I abandoned them. But I made it. It all worked out. And I need to know, what do you do in this situation? Are you, just, hey, we are a family. We all fly together. We don't fly at all. Are you, divide and conquer, or are you sucking up and putting them on the airplane? I need to know what you would have done. This is what I would have done. I hope I don't have more of these stories for you, but if I do, we'll have more for them in the weeks to come. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and today I will leave you with this. I was reading a book that referenced another book, and the book that they referenced was Turn the Ship Around, and it's about a naval captain who was great at being a leader. And he had a comic above his desk. And I'm exaggerating, I'm embellishing the story for effect. But essentially it was like 30 squares of a dog owner and the dog. And a dog just wagging his tail, going crazy. And the owner is saying, sit, 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 sit. 29 of these squares, the owner is just saying, sit. And then in the last square, it's the dog sitting and the owner saying, good boy. Right? And this is what I need us to remember, that when we look at our Pareto principle, when we look at the things that we're trying to accomplish, the bandwidth of your staff is minuscule. I mean, think of how small you think it is and then divide it by 2. They don't have a lot of bandwidth, so your messaging has to be redundant and you have to keep hitting them with it. Your patient's bandwidth is even less. They come in with their own ideas of what's going on, and you're trying to tell them about what you're seeing. You have to keep hitting them with it. So whatever your messaging is, whatever you're trying to do, keep banging the drum. Eventually, it will resonate, and you will be better for it. And that's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.